Hello, everybody, and welcome back to
Hi, how are you?
KF&JF Podcast. We are on the move again. We have a couple here today that we are so excited to talk to about their business. They have been out there at the pop-up tents doing the hard work to showcase their product, and we're here to help them push it even further. And I am excited to hear a lot about what they have to say, not only about their product, but what it is to start a small business here in America. And we are so proud that they've taken the initiative to do that. I can't tell you how much I appreciate them coming on today. But first, I want to go ahead and introduce my co-host. He's here again, Razak.
Hello, everybody. I'm Razak. I am the CEO and founder of United Minority Business Ventures. My purpose is to assist with the creative process and maintenance of your business. Well, I do this by forming opportunities to communicate and collaborate with your followers and subscribers or other business owners. We use a wide range of networking tools and methods to achieve results. We assist in the ideas associated with social media marketing, building your marketing profile, creating your marketing strategy, or building your financial profile for your business. We also assist in branding your product or merchandise. We may also determine what licenses are needed to operate your business, and if you plan on owning your domain or buying into pre-existing sites that host your page. I also like to assist by managing your website by selecting posts that create subscriptions, comments, and likes, or by generating comments on other individual business sites or page that create a dialogue of conversation directed towards your page. We can also help navigate through the thousands of companies asking you for money when there's free companies out there. It's just a matter of starting from the ground level or having pre-existing funds to buy into something flashier. And I'd like to thank both of you for showing up on the podcast today and going through this interview with us.
Thank you, Razak. I appreciate that. And we appreciate all of the things that you're doing out there in the community by trying to help small businesses get on their feet, with the websites and other types of things that they're doing to try to push their business forward. But first, I really want to thank these people here for coming on, but I'm going to let them introduce themselves. So please introduce yourself to our audience, please.
Hi, my name's Isabel and my husband Chuck. We started our crafting business about a year ago, and we're excited to share with everyone else what we do.
Okay. And as she said, my name is Chuck, and I pretty much do all the loading and unloading and everything, and I do a lot of the laser work, and I just kind of follow her lead on a lot of things.
Okay.
Great. Well, tell me a little bit about the name of the business. Give me an idea as to what's the journey in regarding your business.
Well, he's the one that came up with a business name. And at first I thought it was just his initials and he was being a little possessive with the name, but I'm just teasing him. Creative Curations, in my opinion, is we create a lot of things, not just one specific item, and we just use our imagination to create and bring to life what we have in mind.
Okay.
How did you come up with the name?
Well, I kind of like the word curations. Kind of makes you think of a museum piece. So, I'm kind of technical in nature. So whenever I do a project itself, coming from a design and machining background for 30 years, it kind of bred into me. So I really like to take my fine time and to get everything right, and each piece is unique.
Okay.
Well, I know that's must be one of those things where you have that skill set, right? You've been working all this time and doing it, and every day everybody else you're doing it for is is making the money. They're the ones that seems to be going on the big trips. So I can see where you take that, say, you know what, it's time for me to do something. It's time for me to take what I know and put it in a place where I can benefit from it. And I think that's the drive for small business, and that's the drive for entrepreneurship, is taking that risk to take something out that you've crafted and learned yourself and try to put it out there to make something off of it yourself. So I really, can appreciate that, and I thank you guys for being out there. But one of the other questions I would like to ask you is, what's unique about both of you guys? What are the things about you guys that nobody knows about Chuck and Isabella? What is going on out there? They're just thinking, I see them all the time, but I wonder. Give them a little touch of what's they need to know about you.
Something unique about me, probably that only close friends and my husband know, is that I love dogs, and eventually my goal is to have a dog sanctuary to rescue all the dogs and give them all the love. So far, we only have 5 at home. So there's a start to that.
Okay.
Wow, man, nothing like loving dogs. I had a poodle and I loved him for 16 years. And I remember when he passed away, I called 911 and
Oh man,
they said they got, put, no, it was all bad. It was all bad. So I just think that someone that has that commitment to animals and want to see that they are cared for is a unique person, and definitely someone that we need more of out there. So Razak, you have any questions you'd like to ask right now?
yes, I was gonna ask Chuck. Well, but what about him? We can't pass him up.
Chuck's quiet over here, man. Chuck's
Yeah, he
just
didn't
hanging
say
on.
nothing. Chuck was just like, yeah, keep going.
Something I learned is a happy wife is a happy life. So in order to achieve her goal, I guess I have to do everything I can on my end to make sure everything runs smoothly. And of course, from that, with my attention to detail, and I really enjoy working with my hands. And so kind of the best of both worlds.
Okay. Yeah, no, that's right. I had a wood shop in junior high school, and I think that ended it for me. I had cut my finger almost off, man, and that just stopped everything. All that woodwork, all that just that was it for me. I knew I was gonna have to do something else,
You definitely have to be careful. You don't want to send a shipment with your finger in there.
Yeah.
Oh, no,
You know what's funny about it is I did it and I didn't even notice it at the time. I was just like, oh wow, like Then I looked at it and it was like the whole this finger right here was just was opened up, and I didn't even feel it at the time. And
yeah,
you know how people say something happens to you and you go in shock. So you probably had some cuts on your hands too, right?
I lost the top 2 fingers when I was about 22 years old.
Oh man. Yeah. Okay. Well, we're going to ask you about that story right there, because we got an origin story right here. We got how did your early life experiences shape your aspirations and career choices?
Yeah, I think for me too, that actually was my turning point. I was in a machine shop. I just showed up every day for the job. I was learning. It was something new. I didn't take it too seriously. I just enjoyed my nights and my weekends. And then I cut my fingertips off. And as soon as I did that, I took about a month and a half before they let me go back to work. That was the longest month and a half of my life. But when I came back, I all of a sudden had a new insight to everything of what I was doing. And I actually started learning, enjoyed it, and I got really good at it. And after about 28 years, I finally walked away from that. And I have another corporation that I've been running since 2007. So I've been doing that full time. And then I also do creative creations. But again, she does the majority of the work.
Okay. Isabella, let me hit you with the same one. How did your early life experiences shape your aspirations and career choices?
Well, I was a single mom for a very long time, and just crafting kind of made me relax at the end of the day after having a crazy day with 2 kids. And then once my daughter was in 4th grade, she was taking a crocheting class. So we were both enjoying that, and I think that's what started everything with our imagination and doing things together. And after that, it was just a hobby. And then he came along and he noticed that I was doing it on the side, and I was selling cups here and there. And then he decided to make it a business. So here we are.
Okay. All right. Well, that's sometimes it's funny when we get into business and when we start, there's always the potential you see in somebody. So, you know, I mean, I can see how that would happen. You know, you see somebody say, well, maybe the right push or the right helping hand will elevate you and to actually get you into business. And that's what it seems like he was doing.
Yeah.
So let me ask you this, or ask you both this in a sense. Okay, could you were there challenges or setbacks that in hindsight played a crucial role in your personal development?
Yes, because we work together. In his business, I do payroll. So we live together, we work together, and then coming home and working together some more sometimes is frustrating. Sometimes you just want to come home and relax and not deal with anything else. But we have events, he has orders or we have orders, and then here we are pushing each other to finish whatever comes along. And it's like, oh God, I had enough of that during the day. Now coming home and again.
Well,
So-
we're the other way around. I'm the boss there, but she's the boss here.
Okay.
I think a challenge in the beginning was definitely working together in the office, then coming home and working together some more. But now it's pretty easy. He has his office upstairs, two of them. Then he has his garage, and then I have my little craft room here as well. So we kind of give each other space, and that helps out a lot. So I think we're doing pretty good as a team right now. It's been over a year already, and I mean, obviously we get stressed sometimes and whatnot, but we navigate through that pretty well. I think we enjoy working together. Otherwise, we wouldn't, be doing it in the office and then back home.
Yeah, it's like in her room, we're in the craft room, her craft room right now, which actually we have a sign up there. It says she shed. So this is her she shed. And I've got my man cave upstairs, and I've got the actual full blown cave out there. We got an 800 square foot garage, which is a double car garage, double depth. So we got a lot of stuff in there and a lot of area for woodworking and whatnot.
He has two rooms upstairs, the big garage, and then he wanted to take over my kitchen and he wanted to take over my room. I said no. This is where it stops.
Man.
Oh, that's crazy. That's crazy.
Yeah. Well, and but I'm glad you guys were able to come together, because in a lot of couple businesses, that is something to that takes a challenging. That to have is like the defining moments of a relationship is when you guys have two different things that you guys are doing, and you're coming together, and you're still like, because sometimes it's like, you see them too much, you're around them too much, they start getting on your nerves, Yeah. And that splits you apart, but you guys was able to still come through it and make it work out for you. So, and with being that said, so how do you balance your work life with your professional interests and passions, though?
We don't push each other. I think that's probably better explains it. There are days that she'll come home and she just doesn't want to work, or days that I don't want to, or I may take off a day or two during the week from my other company, and I'll just come home and I'll do things that I know are going to take hours and hours, so it doesn't take it away from our home life. And that's the biggest balance, is working during the day, working at night, working on the weekends. You still need to find a time in there to have a personal relationship with one another, as well as alone time too. So by I'm at a point with my other company where I really don't need to be there anymore. But at the same time, I feel guilty for not being there. So I just kind of limit it to 1 or 2 days a week that I stay here and work. But I don't remember the last day that I've taken off and just not worked. I feel guilty. It's a little tough for me to sit here and relax when I know she got up and drove to work. So I always make things, like the signs that I just got done doing. I spent all day and night working on those.
Yeah, sometimes he'll go to bed at 1, 2 in the morning because he's working on a project.
Wow.
I figure that's free time because she's sleeping anyway, right?
Yeah.
Then I turn around and it's the dog I'm hugging.
She's got it, man. She's got it.
Oh man. So look I was gonna ask you though, You know what's okay? So you're doing engraving, and so well. I guess let me ask you this first. Okay, so does it take a certain set of skills or a certain set of training to do engraving? And the same question to Isabella about your crafting.
Well, for me on the engraving, I've never done that before in my life. What I did is I basically ran like a Mastercam type program or Pro Engineer. It's such a CAD CAM programs that we would program a part to make for an aircraft seal or something, and then we would walk out to the CNC, put the metal in, and build that mold that would make that part. Everything's G code, so nothing that I learned there was transferred to learning laser. They're not. There's nothing similar about them. So, in my opinion, anybody can walk up, buy a laser, watch YouTube tutorials, and learn how to run a laser and run it well. It's just a matter of patience and understanding what you're reading. Right. So, yeah, I don't think anything that I've done in 28, 30 years of my machining experience had any part of it. What does make a difference is all the intricate detail that I pay attention to. Working with wood is great. But I'm having to force myself to not hold tight tolerances. I worked within thousandths, and now I can work within, 16th of an inch, eighth of an inch, which is like scrapping a part in the old world. Okay. But yeah, I think anybody can get up and just start running a laser. It's not difficult.
Okay. I think the big key here is patience, because when we both first started, we went through a lot of material that just went to waste because we weren't getting it obviously in the first try. So a lot of cups went to waste, a lot of paper, a lot of ink. For him, a lot of wood, a lot of time, frustration. So I think patience is the key to anything anyone wants to start, because you're learning something new, and no matter how many YouTube videos or how many classes you attend, or patience.
Right. I'm sure. I'm thinking that do you okay? So let me. How should I ask this? Do you guys draw, or is this patterns that you just grab, or is it AI, or how do you guys?
For me, personally, I have my studio. It's called Creative Studio, and that already comes with patterns and designs that I can just put together in print or on Etsy, or if anyone has a custom order, I just have them send me what they want exactly, and I'll create it. For him, however, I know it's a lot different than what I do. So
yeah, for me, people like certain things and they'll say, hey, I want that, but I want to change it to this and add things to it. So as I mentioned before, being a CAD engineer for 28 years and a CNC operator, I did a lot of programming, and it's starting from nothing and designing everything, all the arts, the lines, curves, and splines and things. So what I found is I can pull a file from Etsy, but I have to heavily modify it. And that's when I go back in and I start pulling up some of the old programming techniques that I used in designing, and which I've learned over the last 5 to 10 years now. It's changed considerably. It's so much easier now to do, but I'm having to relearn it because I learned it from the beginning of CAD CAMs back in the early 90s to what we have today. It's so simplified that I have to retrain my brain. So it took me a little bit of time, but now that once I passed that mark, then it just kind of like my eyes opened up and okay, I just have to think of it this way. And now everything's pretty simple. So the time I'm spending designing is minimal compared to what it was before.
When you say CAD, you're talking about AutoCAD, right?
Well, it's kind of a CAD. Yeah, I used to run AutoCAD, Inventor. I worked in a plastic manufacturing company that did hangers, and we built multiple stack molds together to make like 68 hangers come out every 30 seconds. And Inventor allowed us to see all the working mechanisms. So that's when I learned that type of software. But most of my experience was through Mastercam. And that is a CAD CAM system. It's CAD for drawing and CAM for like converting to G code and machining with a CNC.
Oh, okay. Yeah, because I took drafting and design technologies with
Yeah.
AutoCAD. You know what I mean? So I was like, well, because that was a lot of computer work right there. So I started out doing graphic designs and stuff, and I ended up doing blueprinting. You know what I mean? And
Yeah.
getting into architecture. So I always got that. I haven't did it in a while.
Yeah. With me,
I
I
did in a
use
while, but
Pro
I started
Engineer.
out doing it.
Yeah, Pro Engineer is what I use for that. It's a lot more advanced than AutoCAD was. AutoCAD's more for design for, like your home products and things like that.
Right.
Where Pro Engineer is something that is definitely for aircraft or automotive industry type.
Okay. Okay. So next one, what was one of the most challenging situations you have faced, and how did you navigate through it? And this is talking about your business as you was running your business.
As far as the running of the business itself, or the product that we're making?
Both.
Oh, well, I'm actually struggling right now. There's a program called Imajar. I don't have it. I've downloaded a sample of it to kind of test it out, but I wanted it to kind of try Canvas, and there's no color when you laser. It's all black and white. But if you grab Canvas and you paint certain coats, certain colors, up to 3 to 5 coats of paint, you can change the power and the speed settings of the laser to burn through different depths of color, and therefore creating a colored laser image. And I haven't mastered that. I keep burning through them. So I don't know. I see a lot of people use 10-watt lasers. I've got a 50-watt CO2 or 55-watt CO2. So my first attempt, I just burned right through it, and I'm looking at the bottom of my laser bed. I tried it the other night a couple more times, and I can't get past the black layer. And then when I get past the black layer, I burn through certain sections. So I think in order for me to succeed at that, I'm going to have to probably download and buy Imajar. But at this point, I think, and maybe I need to set that on the side and focus more on what we know. And later on, when we have a lot more product out there and we got a lot more inventory, then I'll start playing around with that. So I would say for me, that's the most challenging.
Isabel?
For me, it was the measuring of the paper when it comes to sublimating cups. That was very frustrating because even though every cup is the same size, the image isn't. So it was very hard to figure out how to balance it on the printer on the scale to print correctly. So that was very frustrating. Also, I do embroidery. I was trying to, and I was just having a very hard time. I think I set that on the side for a couple months because it was just I couldn't get it. And then a couple weeks ago I got back to it, and with a more relaxed mind. so that I'm doing a little better on that now.
Okay. Yeah, those are good. Those are good. So let me ask you this, and I'm going to pass it back to Keith. I'm sure he got some questions for you. Can you share can you share a moment of triumph or success that stands out as a significant accomplishment?
For me, it was probably this last Christmas where I finally felt like I was doing a really good job. I had a big order of cups, so I felt accomplished that people liked my work enough to make big orders. So I felt pretty good about that.
Yeah, and I think for me, we spent probably a good 8 to 10 months building inventory and learning, and we enough to where we can go and do our first pop-up. And when we met an individual that was representing the company, that was like our third pop-up event in the last month and a half, 2 months. So that was pretty awesome when we finally got to sit there and that first person purchased something. And that kind of made it all worth it right there. Something that you designed, created, somebody's has an interest where they're ready to open up their wallet. Now, a lot of people look, but sometimes it's hard to get that wallet open. You know?
Right. Yeah, that is the hard part right there, man. That wallet is a
Yeah.
sticky thing, man. It's always like prying it open. But that's just business, you know. That's the teamwork when you talk about you guys working together. You know, having her there makes it a little easy when someone comes into your booth. You know what I mean? And you're working and you're doing that. She can communicate. They can have that relationship, and that usually, you know, put a little bit of that degreaser in that wallet, because it's that comfortness that
Yeah.
they get
We
when you do
are
that.
our we are our worst critics. So when someone comes up and they see something and they like it, and you were giving yourself such a hard time, and they buy it, it's like, what a relief. It's not that bad.
You're right, man. I'm just gonna equate it real quick to when I had a restaurant one time. I hated going out, but I had my wife would go out there, and I was like, honey, I know they're gonna buy it if you go out there.
Mhm.
If I go out there, they're not gonna do any. You know, she's like, you need to get out there. I said, no, honey, you can go out there. It was just for some things, it worked. I mean, me, I'm like, but she would go out there, I would turn my back and go act like I'm doing something, and I turn around and I see the wallet open up. I go hide, because I don't want them to know I was watching the whole time. But it's
You
just
know,
one
that's
of those
funny.
things.
This last event that we did, every time I would leave the booth, I'd look over and there's like people in there. And I'm sitting there for 30 minutes and not a person walks by. And then I come walking back and she's changing money. And I need to leave more often. But that's completely true.
That is definitely the biggest thing that I can tell you. It's it works every time, and I don't know why, but that's one of the things that works. So let me ask you this, and then we'll see where we go from here. Tell me who's been your role models. How you use role models, whether it's your family or people that are outside of the business. Talk a little bit, both of you guys. Talk about the role models in your life that has kind of led you to the business world.
Let me start on that one. I think for me, it's family. I grew up in a family where a lot of the male members were machinists or mechanics, tool and die makers. My father is one. Always worked on stuff together. Still do. Sometimes I don't even try because I can't. I can't give him that much time to go down to Orange County and work on a project. But it's definitely something over the years I've loved doing. And in doing that, you know, I learned the basics of being able to repair things and build things. I think I learned that mostly from my father.
Me, I didn't grow up with role models. So what I wanted to do was for my kids to always expand their imagination, to if they have something they want to do, go for it. Don't just sit there and wait for it to happen out of nowhere. So I did it mostly for my kids, so that they know to do something, to go out for it, and not just be lazy like other people who expect just things to come their way. Work
Great
for
kids
it.
too.
Okay.
Well,
Okay.
that is the part of really part of why we're doing this podcast, right? We want to show, we want to show people not only to see that it's possible to have a small business, but we also want to show our kids what it takes to be in business, what it takes to be dedicated, what it takes to be able to see, you know what? It's not going to always be easy. You got to put work in it to get what you want to get out of it. And the other part is that the money, people like they go to these pop-up tents, and I know it's hard to go to a pop-up tent and don't sell anything, right? And you know that's an automatic, like you're down, why am I doing this? But if you keep going, you build a network, you start talking to other people, and then now people know who you are, and they see you in other places. So it's just like you were talking about selling that group of cups to having a large order, man, that is an uplifter right there for sure, because that's telling you that what you're doing is exactly what you should be doing. Because you're in small business and you're making a difference out there in somebody's life. And I had someone that was crafting and she made something for me, and it was just, it was just devastating, because I never expected it to come. And it was about my life. I sent her a picture and she made something that just was touching to me. So I can see the cups that you're making and the keepsakes that you're making for people. And he's doing the wood projects. All of those things are important for our community, and for our people around us to see that small business is important to be out there. So in asking this next question, I'd like you to think about this in this way. You've been doing all of this and you've been working hard. You're working together. I know that hard because me and my wife work together, and that's hard. That is the number one hard thing to do. But what's your bucket list? What are some things that you really want to do that's like in your bucket list? And one of them might be like, he needs to go for a minute, or we need a bigger break, or I need to just go on a boat ride or a cruise by myself. What is in your bucket list?
My bucket list is to travel to Europe. How about yours?
And mine would be to go back with her. Yeah, I've done it. I would like to go back, but some of the countries that I've been to, that I haven't been to, she seems to have the most interest in. So that's going to be cool. Be able to go back there and see that, with her fresh eyes of it, and mine as well. But of course, Italy and Paris, still want to stop there and check that out. But I think that's something that we'll do when the kids are, of age. Right now, they're at those teen years, and they're almost going to get to that point, probably in a couple of years, that we'll be able to take a nice trip, a couple of weeks to a month, and go travel and hire a dog sitter.
Wow. Where are you actually from? Where are you actually from? You from Europe? From where?
No, I'm from Mexico.
Okay. So
yeah, I'm from here, but my family origins are more Dutch Irish.
Dutch Irish. Okay. Well, you just want to travel just to be going. I mean, that's got to be fun, man.
To explore the world.
I mean, I would love to just go. Yeah. Well, I like to tour the United States. Maybe I can get through all the 50 states first, and then I can go outside. But I would just love to be somewhere else too, as that goes on. So what are you guys' favorite music? What are you guys doing out there to take you away from the business when you're by yourself in that craft room? Who you jamming with? Who you talking to? Or is it the Lord? What are you doing?
I like heavy metal, but I rather listen to podcasts, because if I turn on my music in the morning, he's like, it's too early for this.
Yeah, I'm more of the classic rock. Also, that 90s grunge. But when it comes to the hard metal, it's just, my skin crawls, my hair stands straight up. That was just never my thing.
Oh man.
That's what relaxes me.
There you go. There you go. She's out there bouncing her head. Well, you gotta let her do that, man. Turn that stuff on.
My kids lullabies.
Yeah. Oh my goodness, a lullaby. That's good. Because you know what? That's create. You can be really creative when in the middle of that, running around and jumping and doing what you gotta do, and you throwing stuff. All you need is some. Oh yeah, you need some paint too, so you can throw it against the wall. Be like, hey. Next thing you know, you make a masterpiece. You make your masterpiece. Like, that is beautiful. How did I do that? You got a craft room. Yeah, you got a craft room. You can do anything.
That's crazy that you said heavy metal. That's just. I wasn't expecting to hear that. I was like, maybe Julio Iglesias or somebody. J-Lo or somebody. Man. But I used to look at. I listened to. Used to do heavy metal back in the day too. And that was kind of back when skateboarding was done. I used to when I was younger, way long time ago. I was just trying to do skateboard tricks, and everybody was like, "Hey man." They just didn't expect everybody to think was hip hop and everything, and I was listening to heavy metal. I was going to the mosh pits and stuff like that, and they was like, "Man, what's going on with you?" And I was just like, man, I don't know. I just found my way over there. I just liked something that I heard, you know. And
Both of
I
my knees have big scars because I was trying to skateboard.
Oh yeah.
Fell on my face.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah, I wasn't good
oh
at
my
it. I wasn't
God,
good
you
at
don't do that.
it. Yeah, Keith.
I wouldn't want to be doing that, but I tell you, there's a lot to be said about trying to stay young in your mind and trying to keep that that drive going and what you need to be an entrepreneur, because it's just, you never know what's gonna bring that new idea or something out of you. So it's good that you're paying, you're doing that. And your husband is letting you, he's saying, you know what, it's a little early for that, but it's still, that's the thing about that 50-50. You got to give your 50-50. You got to know when, you got to know to fight the battle. What battle to fight, what battle not to fight. And you're not going to fight the battle with music. You ain't going to get it with that music, man. That music is not, you just let it go. Turn, put your headsets on, or go out to your shed or your garage that you got all that stuff going on in there.
Yeah, he goes to his garage and he's blasting his music super loud, and I'm like,
Yeah, I got a nice DJ box. It's about 6 foot tall. It holds a couple 18s, and I get it cranking out there.
Oh man,
man, that's not fair. That's not fair. That's not fair. You're out there,
On our way to work in the morning, he'll be playing his music, but once we get to the office, I'll put my music super low, playing my kind of music.
Oh, there you go. There you go. There you go.
Well, that's a machine. Are both you guys sort of like in a machine shop kind of atmosphere, right? So those machines are loud, are they?
No, not at all. No, I ended that career years back. I own a staffing agency since 2007. So I kind of retired from what I did for a career back in 2007. So I've been doing that full time at the office since then. So it's a staffing agency for Riverside Inland Empire.
The engraving isn't allowed a machine or nothing like that. It doesn't.
No, that part of it is just it's an X Tool P2, so it does about 24 inch, so it's about 30 by almost 4 foot long and about 18 inches tall on the riser bed, and it just sits up on one of those Home Depot Husky toolboxes. Okay. And it's fairly loud, but I unplugged one of the inline fans and put a super quiet large 6-inch fan on it to get the vent out the window. And that helped out quite a bit. So everybody's able to sleep at night now.
He's lucky I don't really care for noise.
Well, banging your head to heavy metal all day long, I mean, noise is a problem.
What about your crafting? Do you have a heavy tool? Does it take anything like that, or is
No, I just have my printers and my embroidery machine and my
sublimation heaters.
Yeah, my heaters. So nothing. My heat presses. Nothing. The only thing loud is my radio.
That's good. That's good. That keeps it going. So how do you sit back with times? Do you bring the kids involved, or is it other people that you bring into the mix on both of you guys' side, or is it everything just done by yourselves and you go off into your world and do your creativity, or do the kids or other family members participate?
Once or twice we've had the kids help on a little project here or there. It's minimal. We let them be kids with their schoolwork, or one's doing cheer. Our son is now working, so he gets back and forth to school and whatnot. So he's driving now. That gives us more free time at home. So instead of just sitting there watching the TV, especially when our shows aren't on, we're crafting. But when our shows are on, we kind of sit down together and we'll watch 1 or 2 shows a week, or I'll watch a couple that I like and she'll watch a couple that she don't like. So, so far, I mean, it's been great. We pick and choose. Nobody's complaining, or I don't think we are, but.
No, for me, I think my daughter mostly, whenever she wants like something for her teachers or her friends, she'll come to me and she'll tell me, can you do this? Can you make that? And I'll do that with her. When we have events, she's the one going with us. like he said, our son is working, so he's not involved at all. I know a couple of weeks ago he tried to make some shirts. He's also in the mindset of wanting his own business, and he wanted to start a shirt business. So he was messing around with my heat press and my computer and the printers and all that. But he's not completely into it. I think he just has his phases where he wants to do something, but he gets too caught up with work and school, and now he has a girlfriend. So so yeah, it's our daughter most of the time that's with us.
Yeah, we have a 15 and a
Well,
17.
yeah. You said the wrong thing
15 and
there,
17.
man.
Man, I know those. That's that age right there, man. Be careful, watch him.
Yeah, few months and it'll be 16 and 18. So he's
Oh,
out the door in
wow.
a few months.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
we're respecting his grown up time.
Yeah,
Oh, wow,
yeah.
wow.
That's
Go
what
ahead,
I always
Razak.
told her. I told the kids, I said, you guys do know at 18 you get a set of suitcases. They just looked at me like, I don't get it.
Time to go, buddy.
Yeah, my son
That's
yesterday
a
says,
good one there. I hadn't heard that one.
yeah, my son yesterday says, what? I'm an adult. And I look at him, really? He's like, no, I'm just kidding. I'm still a baby. I was like, I was about to start charging rent.
Man,
That's
that's
crazy.
good that you guys brought that up right there. You guys just said that because I got this one right here. It's just it's in these are like, is there a particular life lesson you learned that would you like to pass on to others? So now, what would be the life lessons running your business, coming through the troubles and the setbacks and the challenges of building your business, becoming a couple, doing all these things, having the kids, and now he's at the age. What would be a life lesson you would pass on?
Nothing is handed to you. You have to work for it.
Yeah, we often will make them pay for something, and we'll have them do work around the house or something. We notice that when it's handed to them, like at Christmas time, we'll see it in the trash before even the next Christmas. But when it's something that they worked for and they bought themselves, they never get rid of it. We have to say, get that out of your room. Definitely work for everything. Obviously, nothing should be handed to you. We definitely don't have spoiled kids, and I think that's a good lesson for them.
Yeah, for anyone, just don't expect anyone to hand you anything just because you're sitting there looking pretty. You have to earn it, because when you earn it, you value yourself, you give yourself more respect, and you will treasure that, whatever it was, a lot more than if someone just handed it to you. Someone gives it to you just because you're like, yeah, that's cool, thanks. And then, 5 days later, it's in the trash or broken or whatever the case may be. But when you work for it, you treasure that.
I agree.
I can definitely,
agree with
we
that.
probably both can reflect with that, with, buying the kids something that you was like, oh, damn, you broke it already? It's like,
Yeah.
you didn't just went and hustled and spent all week and a month, trying to get something that maybe that they liked,
Yeah.
and this is gone. That's crazy.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah, my
very-
daughter, she does nails for a living, and she saves her money and she buys her own product, and she gets paid, she saves it again, buys more products. So she definitely knows to work hard for it, for what she wants. It's not just going to be handed to her.
Yeah, the funny part is when she gets 18 and she's graduated, now she has to go to school to do something she already's been doing for years, and she's just going to bore her to death. But she's probably going to end up being the teacher's pet. But to get that license to do, not cut nails, but to do nails, I'm not sure how long she has to go for, but I know that's going to bore her.
Yeah, I think everyone here at home has a, what would you call it?
A hobby.
Yeah, a hobby, something we all do. So we're all kind of doing it together, separate but together.
Yeah, like our son, he wants to be a lineman, so he's going to be going to the the union to be on an apprenticeship program. Is what it looks like he's going to end up doing. So he's been thinking about that for the last 1 to 2 years.
Mhm.
As he's getting closer, now he wants to. He's got great grades, so he wants to kind of do a homeschool and graduate a year early, and then get going on it. So he's kind of antsy to get going on that.
Right.
Wow. Wow. You know, when you're talking about nails, you know, my daughter went to nail school. She did the whole thing, license, and you know, I remember when she got the she got the barber kit because she had license, so she could buy it cheap. You know,
Yeah.
she's not cheap, but she can get the professional cutters and all that, and all. Then they give them all these nail kits. I was like, oh my! She came home with a box full of, you know, polish and all these fingernail polish. Oh my God! She graduated. She still does it. It's one of those things that, you know, she does on the side, but. Yeah, I could tell you it'll be worth it when she's done. She'll be able to have a side job forever. You know, people
Yeah.
getting them nails done.
Yeah, she wants to be a nurse and then do the nails on the side too. So, like I said, everyone at home has a mentality of work hard, play hard, enjoy life.
Okay.
There's a time and place for everything. So
That is the key. That is the key. That is the key. If you don't do it, nobody else will. So I would make sure that they stay focused into that area, you know. So I think what we're gonna do is Rozaki, you have another question or so?
I just wanted to ask you real quick before we you know, what did I write down? Okay, when you're in doing your business, so you guys, you said you were from Mexico, right? Okay, so and Chuck, so you guys are, when doing your business, is there a cultural influence in what you make and how you going about maybe presenting it? That's like for both of you guys.
For me, no. I think what I tend to do is kind of find out where we're going to have our event and kind of know the area and try to bring things that might sell well there. But as far as what I make or design, there's no cultural influence whatsoever.
Okay.
If I like it, I make it.
yeah, pretty much same here. I mean, I think my inspirations are really my dogs. So I started doing things for like dog designs, dog bandanas, things like that, just for the fun of it. And then I realized that I could do more, and I started making other things. So no, I don't see race per se. I'm just enjoying what I'm doing, having fun, and if anyone wants to buy it or wants me to create something different, I'm there for it.
Yeah.
So I'm not focused on just a specific race or age or anything like that. I've had people who are in high school with my kids or an older friend who's like 75. So it's not a specific target. I think it's for everyone.
It's a good answer. It's a good answer. I like that.
That's great. That's great. That's a part of what we, you know, in small business and being out there, we run across everybody. Everybody has a business. All different people are working together. Everybody's trying to, you know, put their family in the best position to succeed, you know, whether it's their kids or themselves. So in doing that, you know, everybody is a part of that success, right? So we can't be judgmental. We have to be able to work together and be creative, because
Yeah.
you never know what someone else could teach you in the business that you're in. Because I've seen them, I've interviewed a lot of people that have crafts and other you know, types of businesses, and believe me, there's always something to learn from each other. So that's
Yeah.
We're
one of the
learning every
major
day.
things. Yeah, that's one of the major things that, you know, that we have to do. So what I would ask is, can you talk about the importance of what you're doing in establishing that legacy for your kids, right? So the whole thing that you're married, you're together, you have the business, and the legacy is what you're trying to leave behind to those kids, and when you move forward, talk about what you see your legacy being and how you want that to be looked at as you move forward?
I think for me, it's like, obviously everybody, a lot of people, when you have a company, you have like wills and trusts and things like that. For me, I'd rather my kids not do what I'm doing, not take it over, not take over my other business either. I've set up, the other one is a corporation, and there's a board that attorneys would be involved with the board, and the business would go on, and then they'd have a structural, weekly or monthly payment out of that without going to work there, but nothing to where it's going to be to where they don't have to work. It's just a subsidy, basically. So I think my legacy that I would like to leave would be, how I treat others. Doesn't matter where you're at in life. Never look down on anybody else. Be there to help them. Have an open hand. But you have to also know, I'm sure you may have experienced this, there's a time when to close your hand, that you're not going to be able to help somebody anymore. So I try to teach them the values of learning when to do things like that. But approach everybody with an open arm, basically an open pocketbook if you can, to kind of help out when you need. Obviously, you have your own life, your own bills and things like that. But we like to show them hey, get up, cook a full turkey dinner, and let's go out there and make 50 or 100 turkey dinners. So I want that kind of personality instilled in them, and never take anything for granted and never put themselves above others, basically. So I guess that would be my legacy.
Yeah, for me, it would be learn to be independent, but also learn to work together and always help others when you can, but also know when you're taking advantage, because you don't, a lot of the times we have a friend that we care for, and that friend sees that you care for them, and that's when people start taking advantage. So learn when to say no. Be kind to others.
I am just proud of you guys, and I think that is just so amazing, because that is what teaching them to give back and teaching them to share is, believe me, it will be the greatest thing you can leave a kid, because once they learn that, they got it all. They got it all up there, because they know now that things go around, and how you treat people is determined that way. So if you treat people with, you dismissive and all of those different things, believe me, somebody's going to be that way to you when you need it. They're going to be dismissive to you. So if you can leave that as a legacy, that definitely goes a long way. So, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to be right back with Chuck and Isabella. We'll be right back.
Okay. So here's some glass cups that I make. This is not sublimation. Here's another example. This one that I'm going to show now is sublimation. I love Frida. My first dog's name is Frida. And then, like I said earlier, I started embroidering as well. I made this for one of our dogs. I'm the reason why we can't have nice things. So that's for me.
Yeah, and then for me, I actually, about a week and a half ago, went to New Mexico, visit a friend. And what he had bought a farm about a year ago, or not a farm, but a ranch in New Mexico. And he had a lot of this broken up lumber that had a ton of bark on the backside. So I cleaned off all the bark and just kind of cleaned it up as best I could, and then threw it into the laser. And this is what I kind of came up with. I don't know if you can kind of see the river scene there, but that was all lasered in. This whole thing fits just inside my laser. And I do have the X2 P2, which allows me to cut up to 10 feet long, so I can make those 5-foot tall porch signs. Here's another sample. This piece that I just showed you was too big, so I made it a little bit less in length, and this is a cutoff piece. And then I lasered this other river scene to it. And then my final piece that I was working on, this was a piece of flatboard. I've got about, it's a rough side on the outside, rough raw cut. And then this is the fishing scene, just a gentleman and his son in a boat fishing for, looks like some largemouth bass out in the mountains. And I believe this is the scene for Montana. But this is primarily what we're doing with those. I probably got about maybe about 10 pieces of that that are about 8-9 feet long that I can either make long ones or make short ones. Obviously, you know, when we get free wood like that, it's a lot better profit-wise. We don't have to go to our local lumber store and pay the outrageous prices for some of our wood. But yeah, that's pretty much what we have. A lot of what I cut out is I'll take a lot of items that I purchase from Etsy that has resale value to it, where I'm able to cut it and make it and sell it, and as a finished product. And a lot of those of what I've done, and not just engraving, but I'm laser cutting, and it's up to 1/4 inch. I can cut up to 3/4 of an inch, but I like working with 1/8 inch or 1/4 inch material. I do a lot of things like a sugar skull, where it's multiple skull to create a 3D effect, and there's probably about 7 or 8 pieces. And those do really well as well. But a lot of what I've been doing lately are just 2 layered signs, a white background, black face, 1/4 inch thick material, and 1/8 inch backing. One might be off-roading with a Jeep, another might be, you know, Army, Navy, the Marines, and whatever their symbol is. And I'll make those like 12-inch diameter. And on our Instagram page, you can kind of see our booth set up with a lot of those items that are on there.
You also make earrings. Did you mention that?
Oh, and I do. I practiced on, somebody had asked me at one of our booths that we did, can I have this 12-inch sugar skull in an earring? I said, I don't see why not. Well, he asked how much it would be, and I gave him a price, and he goes, okay, I'll take that. And I said, but I also have a file where I can make this particular earring. He goes, oh, I really like those. So I actually learned how to pull something off. I had to make a jig on the machine so I can set it up a couple times. I engraved very lightly so I can see like the lines on my part. And then I took it off and I went through with some acrylic paint, painted those lines, and then set it back up into my jig in the exact same spot. And I did a full engrave, so it engraved between all my colors and then cut out everything. And it happened to be a skull with a couple roses. And it was a tan color for the skull, and it was green and red.
Do you want to tell them about your crazy earring order?
Yeah, I did have a person that ordered, I guess you would call them XXX earrings. And that was a custom order. I'd rather not talk too much about what it is. I don't post it. But I literally made a set of male parts to hang from this person's ear.
Just so you guys know that, you know, anything goes here. You have it in your mind, and he can create it.
Yeah. I asked, are you sure that's what you want? Really? You're going to pay me to make those? I thought, okay, money's money.
Oh, that's crazy.
Oh my God. Oh my God. That's awesome.
Yeah. So what we're going to go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, you go ahead. Thank you.
Oh, what I think the next step of what I'm going to be trying is my X-Tool P2 is just way too big. It's not mobile. So I'm thinking about buying a fiber laser sometime in the next year or so. And that fiber laser I can plug in with the generator. I can take to the show. I'll buy some products like some of the little metal wallets, or even some bracelets or pendants, or any kind of item that's like that, and do customization. So I can put somebody's name on the item, or somebody's I love you on something, and try to do that at the shows. And then while she's doing sales, I can be kind of in the back of the booth doing, you know, the afterthought of the sale, which is doing the custom engraving. I do custom engraving work, and she does custom printing, but having somebody pay for it and then you leave and then they come back and get it is a lot tougher than if I can just do it right there at the show. So that will probably be our next step. But I'm going to give it about a year before we make that move because, lasers are not cheap. And we want to make sure that we're doing well enough in sales to kind of warrant doing that. And I'm asking everybody kind of see what their feelings are, whether they would be interested in a service like that.
Yeah, because it took us about a year to stock up in all of our products and do everything that we were doing before going out to any events and actually setting up and selling. So another year for us to see where we're at and see if there's any other additions we want to include.
Yeah, and the reason it's taken a year is like, we had mentioned before, we have another business and that's our career and that's our livelihood. And this, we're hoping it will become a livelihood, and it'd be nice to just hire somebody to kind of take over our positions at our other company and have that in the background, and then we can focus 100% or 90% on this. And obviously, being that it's staffing, we got to look at the money and make sure all the checks are crossing and everything lines up. But about 10% of our time could be eventually on the other corporation where we can focus on this, which is more hands-on.
Okay.
Yeah, I think that's awesome. But you didn't talk a little bit about the leather. Did you do that?
If you could do that on leather.
Oh, can I do that? Yeah.
Were you doing leather out there or no?
Sorry?
You wasn't doing leather at the pop-up tent, were you?
That wasn't me. That was another guy.
Oh, okay.
And what's funny is we know who that person is because he works for one of my clients with my other business. And he saw her walking by and he goes, Isabel? Because she delivers checks over there. And then they realized that, hey, we all know each other.
That's great. I was wondering. Well, okay.
Yeah, he does a really good job. We saw some of his work and he's amazing. He does really good work too. I don't remember the name.
You guys use the same type of machinery? Is
No.
it the same type of machinery or no?
No, he does different than he does.
Yeah, he does more of etching on metal, laser cutting on metal, which is what I just said I wanted to, in about a year, probably venture into adding that to what we do. But we primarily do items that you would hang on your wall or set up on your countertop. And his is more on your body personalization, such as the baseball caps or the wallets or the knives kind of thing.
Okay. Oh, okay. Oh, no worries. I was just curious.
I would like to chime on in right here and say that would be a good idea, that to have the on the spot lasering and crafting. That keeps them around, that keeps people interested. That gives people a little more excitement and looking forward for something. After they get through running around, sometimes you go to these events and it's just like you say, they look and they're like, I don't know. But once they know that, hey, the idea that you have right now, we can put this on this board and kick it out to you. You know what I mean? That's a little bit more quality work right there. And this, I want to have, I got a, okay. Now now when what you just showed us right now with the engravings, do you do have like 3D art like on there, like is it in depth, like it comes up or something like that, or is it?
Yeah, well, on this here it looks 3D because there's pixels in different colors have different depth patterns, which you usually set up in like a PNG file. So what that is it gives it a 3D look because it burns deeper, because it's allowing more power of the laser to embed into the wood. And you have to really do test grids for every kind of wood, because like bamboo, I do not like working with bamboo because every so often you'll get a piece that just blows out. And it is nothing of your fault. It's just the type of material it is. A lot of your plywoods, I have to be careful where I buy some of my 1/4-inch and 1/8-inch ply, because there's laser plywood and then there's your stuff at Home Depot. And the stuff at Home Depot, it can work. It's a whole lot cheaper, but you do come up with problems because of the glue they use in between. It doesn't burn well, or it won't burn, and it won't burn through your part. And then you're stuck having pieces that are not falling out when you need them to separate. But yeah, there's a 3D effect to it.
Okay, and now you're on the move with KF&JF podcast, right? We always like to say that, right? So what I want to know is could you well this first, does the thickness of the wood and the type of wood make a difference in what you can make or put on there?
Yeah, it does. Like, I really like working with your hardwoods, like your walnut, your mahogany, your oaks, your maples, a lot of your standard woods. I like working with those because they're pretty consistent as far as the burn. So I can burn it deep like these, or I can back off on the power level of the set I just showed you, and it's just a very light lasering. But I like to see that 3D depth on something that's kind of rustic. So I actually burn that at like 90% with one pass. Obviously, the whole thing is a million passes, but it's only one time it goes over the same location. And I burned it at like 90 or 95%. If that would have still looked the same without looking like it had depth to it, if I would have burned it at 10 or 15%.
Okay. Could you? Okay. Well, I was asking that to ask. I don't know if you can see it, but could you make one of these KF&JF symbols on there? I don't know if you can see the little logo in the corner up there.
Yeah.
Does it? How do you apply color in that? I know you said you did something else with the color.
What can be done is you can make that into multiple layers. And what you can do is, instead of going in on a single layer and hand painting everything over it, which kind of takes an artist skill, that is not me. So what I would do is create multiple layers, which gives it a 3D. And then I grab the good old spray paint and just spray each layer and then glue them over the top of one another.
Oh, okay.
Like, you'll see it somewhere in one of my Instagram pictures, a sugar skull. It's like 7 layers, 7 different colors. Then you'll see I did a 3D effect of a stormtrooper, where if you have to kind of look at it for a second to see the stormtrooper, but if you just picked it up and looked at it, you're like, what is this? But if you pulled it out about 5 feet, then he's obviously a stormtrooper.
You also made the gun?
Yeah, and then I made an M16, a little 12-inch gun that people think it's real, and everybody walks up, picks it up, and then they look over the back and realize, oh, that's not real.
Oh man, I heard that, and that was kind of where I was leading to too. Again, so they're like, okay, so those are engravings. Do you actually, or those what you're talking about, the M16? Is that something that you actually cut out?
It's a mix. It's engraving and cutting.
And cutting, so
like I would cut the outside shape, but I would engrave the detail. Not really engrave, but scribe. Okay. And the programming software I use, there's scribe, engrave, and cut. And different softwares call it something different else, but that's what mine is. And a scribe is just, I put like a watermark of what it is, all the fine-tuned detail of what's inside that makes you look at something and go, oh, I know what that is. Where engraving might be something where it's a solid color and it's got depth to it. And it might just be a little thickness, or it might be, really deep. I mean, I can go a 1/2 inch deep on a laser cut if I go over it 10 times at full power.
Oh, I heard that. Yeah.
It's a lot of work.
Yeah. Do you incorporate both of your crafting and Isabel? Do you incorporate in here?
Like he'll make like a heart like this, and I was telling him I'm gonna paint a design on it. So sometimes some of the stuff he makes, I bring it over to my craft room and I create my own design. As far as my things going over to him, I don't think so. No. It's mostly his stuff coming to me.
Well, yeah. I mean, she gave me an idea. She came up with these little tab openers for soda cans. These.
Your soda's over here.
So what this is, I made a 3-piece. See the hollow there goes over the tab. And then I cut the outside out. I made it, but this was all her idea, her design. And then
So it's like for the girls who have the long nails.
Right.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
and then we got funny ones. They kind of say things like that,
Sexy, yeah.
or nasty ones.
Yeah.
Hey, well, you got to have it for everybody. You never know. You're already making funny little earrings, man.
Yeah.
You gotta be
You might as well
open-minded.
Yeah, I started making some keychains and different type of earrings, and very few are buying the keychains, but they spend a good 5 minutes reading everything because they're not for children.
Right. Yeah. So let me ask you. I guess this would be.
Is that hard for you?
I don't know. I was about to. I guess this would be for Isabel. It's I see it. I keep saying Isabel, but it's Isabella.
You can call me Isa.
Oh, Isa. Okay, for Isa. Can you highlight any emerging technologies or innovations and when it comes to shaping the landscape of your business?
Holy software.
Yeah, I think it's really with the software, just because I'm not like him, where it's for me, it's the machines that does the work for me, and then once it's printed, I just tape it together and I heat press it. So it's really just keeping up with the updated softwares that are going on, making sure that the printer you have and the laptop you have are compatible. Otherwise, when you're printing a picture, it's gonna come out the pixels are just not gonna be nice. So it's really just keeping up with updating your systems pretty much.
Okay. Okay. So I know you had mentioned earlier about what type of style of laser you have. Is there any technology into more advanced laserings, or I don't really.
Yeah, I mean, well, there's several different. There's an IR laser, a diode laser, CO2 laser. Each laser kind of does many different things. What I did is when I bought the X2 P2, I kind of wanted something that was going to do the most of what I was interested in making. And there isn't one laser that does it all. And that's the problem. There's a lot of things I make that I probably could have bought a $1,500 small laser for, that just kind of sits on the table. It's lightweight. But there's a lot of things I would not be able to do.
Very limited.
And, coming from building race cars and race motors, as a hobby over the years, you learn not to buy the cheap stuff and save your money and buy other stuff. Otherwise, you're going to be breaking down and you're not racing. So what I've done is I've learned over the years, go out do your research, spend the money. You don't buy the most expensive, but you buy something that's going to be most tailored to what you want to do, and don't buy the cheap version of it.
Right.
Yeah, sometimes cheap is more expensive because then you gotta fix it, then you gotta replace it, and you're spending more money than you would have if you would have bought, something kind of in between.
It's kind of like a car. We can all go out and buy a Toyota, or we can go out and buy a Mercedes. Toyotas are good, Mercedes are good, but we all want the Mercedes.
Yeah.
Yeah, but the repair is a put that little piece up again.
Yeah.
The repair is bad, man. That's it's costly. You might as well buy a couple of 4 or 5 cars with that repair.
Yeah.
So I'm telling you.
I'm going to ask one more question, and I'll kick it back over to Keith, see what he got for you. Can you share your personal experiences with skill development and continuous learning? Because you guys started at a certain point, and now I believe you guys are in more of an advanced level. So,
so for me, it was in the beginning, because I use a Cricut sometimes too for my cups and other projects. It was really, really hard to do layer by layer by layer, or when I started with a printer, sublimation. It was really hard to just, again, get the measurements going on and everything. And it was just really frustrating. And a lot of the times I just wanted to give up and just be like, oh, whatever, I'm done. But then I remember how much money I spent. So I had to keep trying. And now I can't say it's extremely easy, but it's definitely easier for me than where I was 2 years ago. And now it does get frustrating, but I am enjoying it. I do like it, and I don't feel like giving up like I was before.
Yeah, and I think for me, I'm continuously learning. And like I had mentioned earlier, I'm from a background of running like a Mastercam program or AutoCAD Inventor, and some of these programs are $12,000 to $16,000 to purchase, which is unrealistic in somebody like a laser environment world. They don't get the CAD CAM part of it. The problem is I'm so used to using that software that it's like riding a bike for me. I'm 100 times faster using that than I am at the new stuff. The problem is I'm not going to spend 16 grand to buy my own copy. So that means now I have to learn all this other stuff. And I'm having an issue learning that because it's a completely different format and way of thinking on how to do things. My way is the longer way. This is a shorter way with the newer software. But when your brain's used to thinking one way, trying to do the opposite on something new, or you even can't teach an old dog a new trick kind of situation. So I struggle sometimes a little bit, but because of my mechanical background, I'm able to figure out where most people might just walk away from it. I don't get too frustrated. I'll just go sit down, watch TV, or go do something else, get my mind off of it. Sometimes just go to bed. I wake up the next day and it's like a fresh slate. And all of a sudden I see what I couldn't see the night before. But, there's a lot more people out there in the laser world that know a lot more on the trick things to do with the laser. And I'm still learning all of that. But that doesn't mean I can't open a business and make money. So I'm kind of learning as I go. But the end result is when I have an order, it's usually 1 or 2 days later, they have it. And it's not like I'm wasting a lot of money and time on learning for each project that I do, but I am learning a little bit on each project.
Yeah, recently you had a big order of the butterflies. They're invitations for a Sweet 16. So it was wooden butterflies, and engraved was the address and the name. It was a pretty cool design.
Yeah, and what they gave me is we can go onto Etsy and pay $2 and get a butterfly design that I'm able to sell with copyright permissions. But they wanted this particular butterfly, and that butterfly didn't exist, at least not where I can find it. So I ended up having to take a bunch of different pictures. I opened up 5 different type of programs just so I can get that butterfly because some programs couldn't trim, or other ones, couldn't, mirror it over or something else, or I couldn't open that file type. So I went through 6 different files, and after about 3 hours, I finally got the perfect butterfly. And I converted it to an SVG and opened it up into my laser program, and poof, started cutting right away. And it worked out great. So that was our first order of anything that was like that. And we made good profit on it. But I learned something new.
That's kind of the thing with, try and error, right? Is that you end up learning something new. You end up creating opportunities for yourself when you're not, wouldn't even think about it, because there's always something new out of mistakes, right? So, I was going to ask, is there anything that you guys ran across that was just a really big, man, we messed up. This was maybe, you learned from it, but did you find in business that there have been some setbacks that's been really, really bad for you, and you have to really take a step back and think about it?
Be detail oriented. For example, when I was making my cups, I had the paper upside down. So I was frustrated, and I was just trying to get the order done, and then I put it on the heat press, and then when it was done, the image was upside down. So I had to take a step back and relax for a few minutes and then go back to it. So like I said, patience, 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 because if you don't have patience and you do your work just because you got to do it, and there's no a passion for it, it's not going to be work. And you don't want your name on a bad piece. You want your name out there to be good, for people to say, oh yeah, where did you get this? Oh, give me their name, give me their Instagram, or whatever the case may be, instead of being like, oh, where'd you get this?
Yeah, and for me, actually, recently I had an order. I went to Home Depot. I bought some oak plywood, 2 foot by 4 foot. I'm able to cut that as a solid piece with my particular machine if I use the conveyor system. Well, I've had that machine for over a year, and I've never taken the conveyor system out of the box to test it. I figured I better learn this first before I attempt that. So that forced me to learn that. Well, that was a $22 piece of wood that about an hour into the job, I realized that, oh, I can't cut things that I cut completely out because the rollers won't be able to grab the wood that's not there anymore to slide it back and forth. So that was a learning curve. So I figured out how to figure that out, and I worked through it, and the customer was happy. I still made money on it, but barely. But I learned a valuable lesson.
Yeah, sometimes when you're starting, you're spending more money than what you're making. But I mean, again, you're learning, and hopefully if it's something you really enjoy and you really like, you don't lose focus, and you keep working, and you get better, and eventually you'll start making money.
Yeah, and that particular customer was very happy, and then ordered 2 more items from me. So that worked out good. So I ended up making up, and I made great money in the other 2 items because I used half of the scrapped part to make their 2 items, so the material was free.
Hey, they didn't say you wasn't smart. They didn't say you wasn't smart. You're smart enough to realize that. Wait a minute. I got half of it right here. That's how you have to do it, man. That's what the entrepreneurs
work smarter, not harder.
do. That's the spirit, right?
Yep.
Yeah. That's what entrepreneur. We always thinking of, our minds is turning. Oh, I got to use this piece. How much scrap is over there? What can I use that I already have so I don't have to go out and spend any more money? And that's the smart part of being an entrepreneur. And one of the things you was talking about earlier is that you do in Isabella, you do the embroidery. Is that what you're saying? You do embroidery? Do you do shirts, hats, stuff like that as well?
I haven't done hats yet. I am, like I said, I'm getting back to it, and hopefully I'll be there soon. At the moment, I've done sweaters and shirts, bandanas, for example, but I have not focused on hats just yet. I still have to mess with that.
See, and I think that's something that we can work on together. I've noticed that other companies that do on-site lasering, they're doing leather patches that go on the hats, and they're gluing them on, but they're laser. So why not be different and hand her my laser piece and have her do physical embroidery on that same piece to give it in a 3D look that nobody else is doing.
Right.
See, you've already it's there, and that's smart, because you got to be, if you can use that tool and transition it into what she's doing, where she can benefit from it. It's just gonna, you're gonna make more money because it's gonna look better. It's gonna have that crisp line to some of the products that you'll be able to work on. So I think that's good. So we're talking, and we're coming up with a new business right now, and probably have to come up with a new name that won't be CC.
Right?
You get the name of this.
Yeah, right. The next one will be my initials. I sent him a message that day when he gave me the name of the business, because he was thinking of a name, and I'm busy doing payroll, so I can't concentrate. I don't have the same free time as he does. So I'm doing payroll, and then he's like, what do you think about this name? And I'm like, yeah, that's fine, whatever. So I didn't even, think about it. Then I had my free time, and I'm looking at the name, and I'm like, CC. Wait, can you do it because these are your initials? He's like, no, not at all.
I didn't even think of that. Huh? Yeah, well, it was easy for him to come across stuff. He was like, oh, that makes total sense.
Yeah.
That makes total sense, don't you think? That's all right. The quickest way to solve that problem. The
Yeah.
quickest way to solve that problem is to start a new business name. Just
There you
just
go.
take the name, just go out there and get the name. Don't do anything with it, but just hold the name. So when he thinks of anything he wants to start up as a business, oh, I have the name of it right here already.
Right? Yeah.
It's either LLC or it's a sole proprietorship, whatever you want it to be. But I got the name.
Yeah.
I like to ask you guys, um, can you tell our audience a little bit about, what they can learn from our discussion today?
I think never give up. I mean, we're at a point sometimes when we think, boy, the sales, they don't warrant what we're spending. But we're at a stage in the beginning where you're going to spend more than you're going to make. And I know that because I've already done that, 16 years ago with my other company. I went a couple years without having a paycheck, pretty much. And it got to the point where it's once you hit that 3-year mark in a corporation that you're either going to make it or you're not. And we passed that mark, and it's grown ever since, even through COVID. It took a little hit, but it's still, it's picking back up again. But never give up, and if you're the one that has to sleep at night, do everything you can, be as honest as you can, and give it your all, and know that, you know, you're in it for more than just the money. A legacy kind of thing, or just for the other business that I do, I'm employing people, and that makes me feel good at night. Now, sometimes some of these people, that are employed aren't grateful, and that's just par for the course. I think in that company you have to have some thick skin. But when it comes to creative creations, you're not dealing with anybody that's wondering where their money is or why is this not right. It's all, they have a choice to see something that they like or they don't like, or if they want to have something made that they vision themselves and they explain it to you in a way that you're able to make their vision come to life. That's kind of like the same gratification you get out of it, and that's what feels nice. I mean, when you work on something and you work on it, hard, and somebody appreciates that and likes that, that's a good feeling in internally.
Yeah, and I also think don't be afraid to um, meet people, to be friendly, to put yourself out there because
Engage.
yeah, definitely engage because, for example, in the beginning I was very shy and uncomfortable with this just because it is completely out of my comfort zone. But then you guys came along. I don't know if it was one of you guys or someone else that approached us with your podcast, and we had a little conversation, and that was, now we're here meeting other people, and it's great engagement because now your name is out there and more people can reach out to you, and that's more business for you. So definitely don't be afraid. Don't be shy.
Well, I think it's not about so much the business for us as that we want to make it the business for you. I
Yeah.
think in the long run for us, the real good piece is when you guys are out there and you're succeeding and you're
Correct.
moving on. You're getting where you want to be, and all we want to do is help with that, because that's not only going to help you, but it helps the community, right? It helps
Exactly.
everybody else around us. And long as we're doing that, then we're building better schools, we're building better kids, we're
Yes.
having better things that's going to come out of our communities. And that's what we leave as a legacy and what we leave behind when we help small business. So, and that's much bigger than anything that I can get out of this at all, is that we can continue to show that the community is benefiting from seeing other people succeed in small business. And
Yes.
that is the biggest thing that we can do in that. And I don't know how you guys can constantly stay in that mode of, like, working and having the kids and go, you say you're doing payroll and coming back and forth. How do you like stay focused on that when you know that some days, that you were talking about earlier, that you're not, some days you just don't want to work? So with one of my last questions here, I just like to know, how do you can explain that to the people that are out there, the focus part, just the marriage focus part, because partnerships are out there in business, and some of them don't know how to do it. Some of them don't know how to deal with the companionship and working and having a business. How you guys have been able to make that work? And even though with having some of the things that you like or dislike about each other, in the work environment, but what would you tell some of the other people out there?
Well, I think definitely communicate when you're not feeling it, because a lot of the times you push yourself and you don't want to do something and you keep pushing yourself to make the other person happy, but you're human and you need a break sometimes. And it's like sometimes when I come home, I don't want to do anything. So I think he knows me well enough to know when those days are here, and he takes the lead and he makes dinner, or once that's done he'll go upstairs and he'll do his crafts, or other times he's not feeling it and I'll cook dinner and I'll just come to my room.
I make dinner most nights though.
He's a better cook. he's a better cook. So I think definitely speak up when you're not feeling it, because otherwise you're pushing yourself and then you're creating resentment. And once you have resentment towards the other person, it's not a good place to be at, because the other person doesn't know where you're at if you're not telling them. So definitely when you're not feeling it, take a break, relax, and it's there's nothing bad with taking a break, a day or two or however long you need.
And on the personal part of it, love, admiration, and respect. You hold those three, and you'd be amazed at how well your marriage will be.
Hey, I can appreciate that, man. 32 years of marriage. I was with my wife for a long time, and I tell you that we were in a lot of business together, and that partnership is important. And I think that I like to see that when I see marriages that are working in business. I think that is such a special thing, and I just don't know how else to say that. So I like to ask you this last question, and that is, can you tell us if it's anything that we didn't discuss that you would like to discuss, that you would like to bring out and let your potential customers or people out there hear about you, or words that you can hear from you that you want to say?
No, I think our Instagram is mentioned right there. So if anyone is interested, if anyone has any questions, anyone wants a quote, free of obligation. Obviously, a lot of people sometimes are scared to approach because then they feel like they have to make a purchase. We are not going to push you. We are not like that. If you just want to have a conversation about a certain product, or go for it. We're not going to push you to buy something.
Yeah, and I think for me, being especially tailored to kind of what your podcast is about, there's a lot of times a lot of people have called me over the years and asking me for advice on how to do this, and I'm not perfect, but I must be doing something right. I'm in it 16 years on another corporation. And we do multi-million dollars in sales, in that started with $500, so we must be doing something right. And I don't mind spending the time if somebody has a dream and they want to know where to start. I don't care if I spend an hour on the phone and get nothing out of it. I would rather see more people do what we've done, and twice now, and move forward than work for a big business and work and make somebody else rich. I'm all for that. So if anybody's got any questions or anything like that, I'm free. Call me.
We went to the swap meet a few months ago, and the lady approached him, and she had all sorts of questions about the laser machine he has, and he gave her his card, and she called him 2-3 days later, and she was on the phone all day with him. His phone was ringing all day, and he's helping her out, teaching her, guiding her. So we don't like to gatekeep, as people are saying nowadays. If we can help, we will. And if we can share, we will.
Yeah, it's all about networking, whether it's for business or personal.
Yeah.
Okay.
Wow, that is so powerful. And I think Razak has a very, very, very special request from you. And hopefully you'll be able to do that. Go ahead, Razaka. I'll leave it up to you at this point.
Oh man. Nah. It's I'm glad you guys were on. I'm glad you guys were on. When a lot of times, let me say this first. A lot of times when we're doing the podcast, I'm with United Minority Business Ventures. We say, uplifting the Black business owners and in the Black community a lot, but in that community, there's always diversity. There's always mixed couples, biracial children and stuff like that. And I like to say I'm liking to see the support that's going on between you two. The way you guys are supportive, you guys are attentive to how each other are talking. That communication is most definitely key in keeping your business going and keeping the relationship going. And I like that aspect of the interview, because my voice is going for some reason. Sometimes we don't always see the support system. We have the female and we don't, where's the husband at? Where's the, we might talk about him or there's no mention of him, but he may be in the picture. And I like how you was able to come on and be supportive of each other during the podcast. That was I think that's very key to how we spread the message of business. And this is more so, how should I say, family related. Everybody who's on the podcast, they have a family. They're doing it for family. They might do it for people that were passed away. They're doing it for the whole legacy. Or they might just have a talent that they was able to harness and turn into a business. That's what it sounds like. A lot of things that you guys have going on right now too. Because I mean, who's to say that you would have been better at doing something else? Because if this wasn't working out for you and you was to give up at that first moment, because there's a lot of things that I was trying to do. I was trying to do the T-shirts. I was trying to do all this and a lot of obstacles that I came up. I was just like, there's just so many obstacles. Maybe I'm supposed to be doing something else. Maybe I'm supposed to be doing something else here. So now I got all these capabilities I have, to do under my belt. And I'm trying to put all those things in one basket, as you can say, and make that into a business. So that's where you get United Minority Businesses. I compile my schools and different jobs I have and said, okay, let me try to make this into a business myself for myself. So in that, we'd like to ask for a lot of the people that they come on. It's all about giving back for us. KF&JF podcast. We go out here and as I think I don't know if you had asked that before when we had first previously talked, but a lot of the rewarding feeling, the compensation that we have by giving out free interviews and free advertising, free marketing, whatever we can do for you. We got all these different links to websites that we're going to put you on. We got all these different sites that generally get you more exposure. And we're doing that in free for a sense. At the same time, the people who watching this, we ask that you guys, you're going to have to tell somebody. You have to tell, hey, I was on the podcast, go check me out. And those views and those subscriptions that come out of there, those are our rewards. That's satisfying to know that, hey, you do believe in what you just said. You do believe in the exposure and the marketing and the promotions of your business. And people are going to watch it and be inspired to maybe either get off their butts and get their own business, or they might give you a call and like, hey, you said staffing agency, or hey, you said crafting the designs. I want to do that, or they want to be involved in it or buy a product. and that's how we're helping out. That's the reward for us. And Keith, even though we got the we got the Joy Be Love hats on today, go check out joybeloved.com, grab something. And then and like, so we like to ask for, at this point in time, like come towards the end, maybe there's a way of donating either time, mentorship, or we could send somebody that to call and you could talk to them, and say, hey, give them some sound advice. There's all ways of communicating a way to give back, whether it be merchandise, whether it be the conversation, just as you suggest. I'm glad you said that, as a matter of fact, because those are the things we like to give back. This is a way of us, we're having this conversation. This is the way for us to help out. This is a way for people to get to know the person behind the merchandise, behind the product. And right now, people might just see your woodwork, and be like, okay, well, that's cool, but now they're meeting the person behind it,
Right.
and how you go about doing it. That's why I was asking, what was your inspirations from? Where is cultural? It's not that. It's not about that. It's about me feeling this way, and I'm able to produce it out. And of course, you've been making sales, so somebody is feeling the way that you're feeling. So that's a good marketing strategy to have. And so with that, we were just asking that, maybe on the side where we have a kind of a how should I say, a discount promotion going on. We're looking for people who are bringing sponsorship in a sense. They're bringing references, I should say, to the podcast. So once we talk to y'all, you guys might be able to say, okay, well, hey, I was on this podcast. Maybe you should go on a podcast. And those are subscriptions, those are views, and those type of things help us. And it ultimately leads to the Joy Be Love, because there's a clothing line that we also promote, which would help support the podcast. So all these things are intertwined into each other. So with that, that's why I was asking you about this KF&JF podcast wood design. I want to see if we can put that together too. And maybe just asking for a donation or a lending hand when we are able to ask you for it.
Yeah.
And that's compensation right there. Knowing that you're willing to help out when the call, when we make that call and it's answered. And that's really what the request is, that you keep an open mind and keep an open line of communication. It might not be this week, might be 2 weeks from now, and then we'll call up and say, hey, we got this going on, how can you assist us? And that's what this that final request is.
I get it.
Mm-hmm. Keith.
Well, that's his long speech of togetherness. But really, we have the KF&JF, the Joy Be Love product line. It's basically, when my wife passed away, I established that product line, and we use the products there to support the podcast. And that's how that comes about. And there's also some product that's on there for the podcast. There's product to purchase from there. So everything that goes from there, basically, I use for the camera, the editing, and all the different things. So all of that is said and done. But
the more,
what he did,
the happier we are. The more you can help, the better this world will be.
Yes.
And if I
Praise
can
God.
help you and you can help me, then there's more happy individuals in this world.
Yes. That's what we're trying to do.
I love knocking that out. So in Spanish, go introduce your business, introduce the KF&JF podcast, and we're on the move. You do it.
Aquí estamos con KF&JF Podcast. Mi esposo Chuck y yo somos de Creative Creations. Si nos pueden seguir en Instagram, pueden seguir al podcast en YouTube, para que escuchen la conversación tan interesante que tuvimos el día de hoy y aprendan más de nosotros y aprendan más de ellos. Se los agradeceríamos mucho.
All right, guys. Thank you so much.
Well, we'll be praying for your podcast that it grows. And as we grow, you guys grow too. And, blessings for everyone listening, and our best vibes to everyone. And work hard. Don't give up. Everything takes work. Easy come, easy go. So work hard for what you.
I love it. I
really, really
love it.
want. And don't
I
give up
love it.
until you reach your goal.
I love it.
Amen.
Thank you so much again. You guys have a blessed night, and take care of those kids of yours. And I appreciate it. We'll talk soon.
You
Appreciate
too.
it.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.